Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother***ing ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer Podcast. I am Kris Randazzo and joining me tonight is Dentist of the Year, Dan Ryan.
Oh, I'm so good. You don't even want to fucking know how good I am at dentistry.
He yanked out my teeth and then recorded a podcast.
That's right.
It's time for the first 10, 20, 30, 40 of 2024, and it's going to be a good time for all. Will January prove to be better this year than before? Make sure to take your pain meds because the Stone Age Gamer Podcast starts now. Hi, everyone. This is episode 499.
It's a lot of episodes, Chris.
That's a lot. It's a lot of episodes. That's not including any of the bonus episodes like last week's. It's the week of February 2nd, 2024. I'm back. Thanks for allowing me to take the week off. I had dental surgery the morning of. I said last Friday. I had, I'd been talking about my teeth for a while, and things took a pretty nasty turn, and the guy was like, we're going to get you in Friday morning. Like, I think I went to the dentist on Thursday, and they were like, you're coming back tomorrow. This is what's happening. This
needs to happen. That's
not
never
an emergency
what you
before.
Want.
It's important now. Yeah, because it was starting to get, it got so painful I thought about going to the emergency room. And
oh yeah, I've been there.
I kind of talked myself out of it because, I'm not independently wealthy, so emergency room seems like a really last ditch effort there. So I was able to get find a dentist with Karen's help that actually takes both of our insurances. I went out there and he was like, "Yeah, so what you got going on here is the cyst that was under this tooth is infected." And that's what's causing all of this pain. And also that other tooth that might have had to go before definitely has to go now. So let's get this shit done.
Let's make it happen, Captain.
Yeah. Which was, the surgery itself went off without a hitch. And the first 2 days, it was hard to physically speak. I felt more or less up to doing the show. And Karen was like, "Yeah, you're not doing that. Number one, you sound like an idiot. Like you can't talk. Your mouth is full of gauze and stitches. You can't talk. So this is a bad plan." And she was right. It was, I was like, it's not good podcasting right there. So and like the first 2 days, I was feeling pretty okay, and then like. This happens to me with other things, and I should have seen it coming. Like, I'll exercise too hard. Like, when I was doing, Ring Fit, I would exercise too hard one day, and I'd be like, man, I'm going to hurt tomorrow. And then the next day, I wouldn't hurt. And the next day, I'd be okay, too. And then the next day...
I have somehow magically crossed into this new threshold where I am a superhuman. I don't need HGH or steroids. I am a magic man.
I'm going to be just fine. And every single time, I am not just fine. Every time without fail. It's just I have this delayed reaction to injury like that. So, like, 2 days after this started, that's when I realized how much I needed those pain meds. It was uncomfortable. And that's where I've been. So I'm okay-ish now. I'm mostly, I can talk. I can chew solid foods that aren't too complicated. Like I'm not eating steak or anything, but I had pizza for dinner tonight, and a quesadilla for lunch. But the first couple of days it was just a lot of hash and mashed potatoes and
just peanut brittle. Nothing but peanut brittle.
Some stovetop stuffing.
Bring it on. That's right. I was trying to think of the hardest food. I don't know if there's anything harder than peanut brittle.
Like caramel apples, maybe?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, once you get them in, they're kind of soft, right? Like, peanut brittle is just like, here, chew on this fucking rock for a little bit. It's got peanuts in it. It's good.
It's the tastiest rock you'll ever chew on, but it's going to fuck your shit up.
Just peanut brittle and jawbreakers. Fucking everlasting gobstoppers. Just fuck you, teeth. You don't tell me.
Yeah.
Pricks.
So right now, I was telling you before the show, but I have on my right side. So they took out my remaining 3 wisdom teeth and one of my molars. And the right side, where we were just taking the wisdom teeth out, that's all seems perfectly fine. I can chew on that side pretty well. It's just I have these craters in my gums and where the teeth used to be. So like food gets stuck in there, and I gotta use this disgusting mouthwash, which is like,
yep.
The thing about it is it's not that bad. Like it tastes not like much when you're using it. Like it's like I remember fearing it to no end, and then I used it. I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. It's the aftertaste. That's
and then
the fucking
3
problem.
days later, it came. It was like, I'm like your injuries, bitch. I'm here.
There's a warning on the label that says, don't use water. Like, don't drink water after this, because water is going to make the medicine taste worse. And I was like, that's weird. So I would, brush my teeth, and then I'd go to bed, and I'd wake up in the morning with just this horrid taste in my mouth. And then I'd take a drink of water, and it would be like, oh, cool, the horrid taste is still there, and now it tastes like medicine. It's like, this stuff is demonic. I hate it.
Yeah,
but
I
don't think I have to use it much longer. I hope I don't have to finish the fucking bottle. That doesn't seem to make any sense. I think I just have to use it until the stitches are gone.
Yeah.
That's my best guess.
I had my wisdom teeth out in college. I remember I remember the fucking like the pain a couple of days later. Like that's all familiar. And the stitches just kind of hanging out in your mouth like, hey, I'm a string. What's up? How you doing? I don't remember a mouthwash though. I think I just went like saltwater rinses and whatnot. I don't. I was so fucking freaked out about the concept of like dry socket. It was like, oh, if you get a dry socket, it's just the worst thing ever. So I was like, I can't even use mouthwash. I can't even swish. What if I swish out the clot here in my head? I get so fucking weird about that. I think we've talked about that before. Like, I don't watch medical shows, right? Because I just get so fucking weirded out by all of that shit. And I will have whatever happened. Like Tiff the other day, like it was just I was cold, or I don't know. I was just laying weird my neck because my neck is all fucked up. I was dancing around in the car earlier, which I shouldn't be doing with my neck and my shoulder being all fucked up. I was like bobbing my head like a jackass, doing something, and like it clunked. My neck made a clunk, like a fucking car going over a bump. And I was like, well, that's not fucking right. That's not...
Your check engine light came on.
It did. I was like, what is happening? This is so odd. So I stopped doing that shit. So anyway, God, I don't even fucking remember where I was going with this. Check it. Pain. No, fuck. I lost it.
You think things are wrong with you when you see them on TV.
Oh, yeah. I think things are wrong with. So anyway, so my neck is all fucked up. And it's like, it's affecting my arms and my shoulders and my back. So I went to hand Tiff something the other day. She was like, can you pass me that soda? I don't fucking remember what it was. It doesn't matter. And my hand was a little shaky, like just a little bit. And I don't know if it's because of my neck or the way I was laying or if I was just cold or whatever. She was like, why is your hand shaking? And now every 5 minutes, I'm like, is my hand fucking shaking? Do I have Parkinson's? Like, that is the only thing I've been able to think about all fucking week because I'm a maniac, Chris. I'm insane. That sucks. I don't recommend it. I don't.
Yeah, hypochondria is not great.
Oh my God, it's the worst. Like, it's the same thing with the blood pressure. Like, I take my blood pressure every night, and every night when I shower, and I'm like, all right, because that's the time that I remember to do it, right? So I'm like, I'm taking my blood pressure, and it's
is this like
one
doctor recommended or just for funsies?
No, just for funsies, right? Because I have high blood pressure. I'm on the medication. It's whatever. Every time I go to the doctor, it's fucking skyrocketing. But then every time I take it at home, when there's not somebody in a white coat about to tell me something's wrong, my blood, it's normal. It's like 125/78, which is like totally fine. And then I go to the doctor and they're like, I don't know, you fat fuck. What's wrong with you? Like, that's a weird bedside manner, you pricks. First of all, I've lost weight. Second of all, you bitches are fucking scary. I don't like you people. I don't want to be here. I'm nervous. So anyway, yeah, I get mouth pain. Fucking sucks. It sucks.
I mean, here's the thing.
It just ruins your whole life.
At its worst, it was still so much better than what was going on before I had the surgery. Like, even when the pain was at its absolute worst and I hadn't taken any pain medication, it was like, this is still so much better than it was before I had the surgery. Because, like, excuse me, that pressure that's been in my head for, like, I don't know, 20 years is just gone now.
Yeah.
And, you know, on top of all the searing pain from the sideways tooth that's always been driving me crazy for, again, like 20 years or something. But it's I think what's making me so impatient about it just getting fully better is, like, I can tell how much better this is than where I've been for such a long time.
Right.
And I can kind of, like, I'm able to start imagining what it's going to be like when this isn't an actual problem anymore.
Yeah.
And that's pretty exciting to me.
That is, it's an interesting part of the recovery process. I feel it in the morning when I wake up. Whatever is wrong with my neck, back, shoulder disaster, whatever is happening, when I wake up in the morning, it's okay. It doesn't hurt. Like, it resets. I don't know what the fuck is happening. I am very excited. This one, I'm actually excited to go to the doctor just so I can have a fucking answer. You know what I mean? Like, I at this point, it's probably not neck cancer. So, like, I'm not super concerned. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a thing. It's like, if it's a bulging disc or if it's a whatever the fuck it might be, I just need somebody to be like, here's the problem. Here's what we're going to do to fix it. Right?
That's
but when
a
I wake
wonderful
up
feeling.
Oh, it's great. When I wake up in the morning, it feels okay. So, like, I wake up and I lay in bed for a minute and I'm like, oh, have I come through to the other side?
You wake up in the morning, it feels fine. You put on Pearl Jam's 10, you headbang.
I headbang, and then I put on some Slayer after that, after I've warmed up a bit. And then it's just a fucking shit show the rest of the day. Because, yeah. Anyway, I totally get it. I get it. I have had my fair share of mouth shit. And, it fucking sucks. Because once it goes, you're right. Like, once it really, really goes, there's no making that feel better. There's no, well, if I lay this way, it feels a little bit better. It's just, nope, this is constant pain all the time. Yeah, that's what was going on with my teeth. Constant pain all the time. And it's quite the relief to have it finally going away. Well, that's good. I'm very happy. I am. I was successful with Gambler. $26. Nice. That's a small one. It's a small one. It's fine though. It's better than nothing. It's not nothing. It's enough to pre-order the new. To pre-order Jar of Flies, Chris. Well, speaking of dollars, it was it did not cost me much to get this done. My insurance actually came through for me. That's wild. I went to the dentist and they were like, all right, here's what it's going to be without insurance. It's $2,800. I was like, okay, well, my insurance is going to... That's too many of those. That's too many of those dollars. We'll figure it out. Like, your insurance is going to do something. We just don't know what yet. So they looked into it and they're like, yeah, it's going to be closer to like $900 or something. And I was like, all right, well, that's a hell of a lot less than $2,800. It's still a whole lot of dollars. And still not great.
the woman called me back. She was like, something struck me as odd about this. So I called the insurance company to double check, and it's actually only going to be $90.
Oh, that's way better.
Yeah. Okay. Done. So
that's infinitely better.
$90. That for once in my life, insurance actually came through for me. And I was like, yeah, I can do $90. That's no problem at all. Done. Sold. Cut it.
And now it's never going to happen again. You better never get sick again, Chris.
Well, that's the plan.
The next time is going to be like, no, they're covering nothing. They will cover zero.
You used it up.
You're all done.
Well, yeah, that was that was my week last week. I actually took a day off of work. I had 2 days off. I took Friday off because the doctor was like, "You're not working today." And then
I guess you didn't get a snow day because you work from home, so you don't get snow days.
Yeah. But we did have some snow, and that was fun. I was able to actually get outside a little bit with the kids and the dog in the snow. Not really do much vigorous playing, but I got outside and, enjoyed it. And then Monday was where I started to. That was when it started, really hit me. So I took the day off on Monday, and I spent that time playing some games. And I'm pretty thrilled with the way this all has panned out for me. I was before that, on the week that I was, the week leading up to the bonus episode, I actually went back and checked. The only thing I played all week was Vampire Survivors. I was just I was on a mission to 100% that game. I just needed to get that done because I knew the DLC was coming. And I wanted to have it 100% complete before that happened, and I pulled that off. I got back up to 100% completion on the Switch, and then I got my copy of the Metal Gear collection in the mail, and that was. I mean, I've been talking about that for a little while. I was really itching to play that game because I haven't played Metal Gear in a long time, and I was really excited to get that. So, it's an interesting little collection. It has some quirks. I have played through... The first thing I did was I played through NES Metal Gear. That's the thing I wanted to do first, because I don't think I've ever actually beaten that game myself.
Right.
Even as a kid. I know I used to play it all the time as a kid, but I played it this time with a walkthrough, because I'm a grown-up and I don't need to... I don't need to deal with this game's bullshit.
I don't need to feel any particular way about it.
I just want to get through it. I want to have this experience, and I don't know where there was so much stuff in there. I was like, man, I am so glad that I have save states right now. There is no rewind. It's just save states. Mm-hmm. My plan was to do Metal Gear NES, followed up with Snake's Revenge, and then move on to the MSX
which games. Is not a great game.
Yeah, see, well, I'll get to that in a minute. First, I wanted to talk a little bit more about NES Metal Gear, which is... It is a weird game. It definitely has its flaws, but it is overall a pretty solid game. No pun intended. It's
so fucking good. I love that game so much.
The music is so good in that game. I never really got sick of the music, and it was the way it just drops the ball so fucking hard at the end. No Metal Gear. Just put a bunch of plastic explosives in front of this giant computer screen. Why? Come on, man. What are you doing here? You couldn't have done this is Konami. You can do better than this. I know you could do better than this.
I forget what the reason. There is a legitimate reason. I forget what it is as to why the ending of that game is the nonsense that it is.
I think it had something to do with it must have had something to do with some kind of technical limitation, because the only other boss they changed, they took out the Hind D helicopter too.
Right.
And they replaced it with two dudes. So it must have been some sort of technical limitation. And to that I say, you're Konami. You could have figured this shit out. You could have figured this out. There's no doubt in my mind. If anyone can make that work, and especially now having played the MSX version,
right?
those things didn't move. They were stationary objects. They, like Metal Gear and the Heinz D helicopter, don't move. They're completely stationary background objects. You could have just drawn them as the background. Like, anyway, Metal Gear for
NES
is
such a good game.
It's really cool. It is not something that I would recommend doing without a walkthrough in this day and age. Like, it's just, some of the things you have to do are so insane, and there's a lot of cheap deaths in it. Like, you just walk into a room and then the floor opens up and you're dead. Fuck.
What's weird about that is, like, as you're saying it, I'm thinking, like, I could not tell you, because I agree, there's a bunch of, like, cheap shit in there, and a walkthrough sounds like the way you should play it. I could go into that game right now. I don't need one. I would not need one. I could breeze through that game, no problem. But I can't sit here and tell you, like, I have to actually be doing it to be able to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't walk somebody through it. I have to be physically playing it. And as soon as I am, I'm like, oh yeah, it's this. And you go over here and you do the thing, and you get the bomb blast suit and you look like a fucking asshole for a little bit. And
like there's fun little translation weirdnesses, like the bomb blast suit. It's like, you put this thing on because there's wind or something. There's a shield or something. Like, what is? I remember getting to that when I was a kid and being like, what is happening right now? You
this doesn't make any sense.
And you just slide back. Like, what is happening? I'm so confused. But anyway, I used the walkthrough. I got through the game. It was fucking great. And so I moved on to Snake's Revenge, and I've always been enthralled with that game because it looks neater than the first Metal Gear. You know, it's got a nice look to it. Yeah. The music's really good, but the game itself is so tedious. I made it like a half an hour into it following the walkthrough, and it is so... The first Metal Gear is janky as fuck. Like, there's a lot of weird hit detection things. Like, it's really easy to just kind of screw yourself up on like getting stuck on a wall, or like you wanted to move up and Snake just won't move where you want him to or something. Snake's Revenge doesn't alleviate that so much as it makes it worse, because it's so much easier to get spotted, and it's harder to hit with weapons and stuff. It's just, I wasn't having any fun. So what I wanted to do was like, all right, is this worth making it through? So I looked up a video online of like, what's the last boss fight? Like, what am I working my way towards? And
what am I getting to? What's my reward for slogging through this?
Exactly. Like, I mean, I could make it through this. It's not going to be super fun, but like, even when Metal Gear was being a pain in my ass, I was still having a ball. And I wasn't having fun with Snake's Revenge. I just wasn't. So I watched the video of the last boss fight, which is an obnoxious remote control missile. Like, there's a weird, odd-shaped tunnel that you have to shoot like 15 to 20 missiles through to blow up a completely stationary Metal Gear. It's like, just execute this flawlessly 20 times in a row and you can win the game.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck you. No. Where does that get fun? Absolutely not. I'm out. I'm tagged out. And I'm so glad I did that, because then I moved on to the first MSX Metal Gear, which I've always wanted to play, and I've never played it before in my life. And playing that back to back with the NES Metal Gear was such a fascinating experience, because the NES Metal Gear is a port of it, but it's this weird Bizarro World port of it, you know? Like, they changed so many things about it. Like, there's a lot of the same rooms, but they're not necessarily in the same place. There's a lot of the same things, but they're different colors. Like, the NES game Snake moves way smoother. Like, the combat feels better. Like, the punching feels so much more tactile, and the bullets move faster, so that when you're using the gun with the silencer, it's actually useful instead of these really slow moving dots in the MSX one. They're like, I may as well just punch these guys, because hitting somebody with the gun's near impossible. Is ridiculous. But you can see like how they translated the specific sprites from the MSX game to the NES and how different they look. The MSX game is without a doubt a better game, but yeah, I've always heard like, oh, the MSX one's it's a fucking masterpiece. The NES game is trash, and it is absolutely not the case. The NES one is so much closer to the MSX one than I ever imagined, because so many people have been building it up as this huge difference between the games, and it's like, it's actually not that different. It's really following the same beats, but and in some ways the NES one actually plays better. It's just that the MSX game is built better, you know, like it's not as smooth to play, you know, but the plot lines make a lot more sense, and it's obviously not. It's interesting seeing, like, so the NES game was clearly aiming to replicate what was popular in action movies at the time, right? Which is why he's parachuting into the jungle. There had to be this jungle aspect to it. And there really wasn't much of that at all in the MSX one. You snuck in through the water, and, like, you eventually had to go through the desert, but, like, it was mostly indoors. And, like, the forest mazes and stuff in the NES game were like, wow, this is super fucking weird. Traveling back and forth between all these things, and like it was so interesting seeing what was there, what was kept and what wasn't. But like all the little things, like going into a truck to get rations and then just repeating that over and over again. Yeah. Like you can get infinite rations and plastic explosives from cheesing that stuff. Like it was really interesting seeing those things. Like, yeah, it's definitely a downgraded port. Like there's no question about it. Like the fact that the jetpack soldiers don't fly, they just wear jetpacks and walk around. Okay, that's fucking right. Weird.
That's what I do with my jetpack. Don't fucking judge me.
Absolutely nothing. It's a style choice. But yeah, the two games were definitely a lot closer than I expected, and the soundtrack in the NES game blows the MSX game out of the water. Like the music in the MSX one isn't bad by any stretch, but the music in the NES game was legit great. And I'm glad they kept the boss music, because that's the same in both versions, and it's definitely a great tune. But all the interior sneaking around, all the walking around outside, like it's so good. It's so good. It's so much better than doom 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 doom. And like that's not a bad tune. It's just it's not. Really, both soundtracks are incredibly small. There's only like 4 or 5 songs in each game, and I just think they knocked it out of the park with the NES game, and it just wasn't nearly as grabbing in the MSX one. But the MSX one was such a fun game to play through. It's like, even when it was pissing me off, it was still a blast to get through. I'm really glad I did that. I have started Metal Gear 2. I was not prepared for how much of a technological leap there was there. Like, that game really looks and sounds unbelievably better. And, like, as soon as the first transceiver message happened, I was like, oh, shit, it's Campbell. Like, Snake looks like he does in Metal Gear Solid, and Campbell it's first off, it's him, and he looks just like he does in Metal Gear Solid. Like, I had no idea that it was that closely linked, like, art direction-wise and character-wise. Like, because, you know, I had seen screenshots of the game, and I guess I never really paid attention to the I want to call them codecs, but it wasn't codec then yet. It was like still the transceiver, but like those little portraits, I didn't expect them to look so much like that, because in the original Metal Gear they didn't look like that. You know, there wasn't any pictures. There was just that one little picture of Snake who didn't look like Metal Gear Solid Snake, but like they nailed that shit down in Metal Gear 2. So like I'm really, really excited to get through Metal Gear 2, because like I've only played like maybe 15 minutes of it, and when I didn't save, because I still haven't made it through the entire opening sequence yet, because I expected when I started it was going to give me that story sequence, but it doesn't. It just starts the game. It's like, damn, I got to start over and watch the whole intro, which means I have to watch the super sick opening credit sequence again. But like, I've now watched that 3 times. I just want to get to the story. Like, give me the story, and then I can start playing the game. But like, it's got the radar in the corner, which the first game doesn't have, which is like a huge, really, really changes the way the game plays. I'm really, really excited to get to it. Like, I could not be happier. I'm going to play that, and I'm going to play Solid at the very least. But I put in to review it for Nintendo Force because I'm a crazy person. So if I get the review on that, then I'm going to really need to buckle down and play through Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3. So
yeah,
that's going to be a thing. I don't know if I'm going to have to actually beat all three of the games because I don't really know how the review would work. Because
I don't think you would have to like it. Because
I should, but
whether you should or not.
I should because I've never beaten Metal Gear Solid 3, and that's just a life experience I should have. But I've
really
beaten
is.
Solid 1 and 2 before. All I need to do to know what to think of those games in this collection specifically is play them for an hour or so. Like I'll be able to pick up on that, no problem. I know those games very well. Here's my thing. So. The NES games and the digital graphic novels are bonus content, which are a different game. Like, you put in the cartridge and you get 5 icons. You get bonus content, Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2, Solid 2, Solid 3. So you put in the card and there's just 5 separate games that show up. So the first game, that bonus content one, which has the 2 NES games and the 2 digital graphic novels, except you have to download the digital graphic novels. They're not like there. The 2 NES games are. You don't have to download anything. But if you want to do the digital graphic novels, you have to actually download them. Then the second, they don't have a rewind feature, which I think is very obnoxious and kind of inexcusable at this stage, right? Because we've had the Castlevania collections, like the second Castlevania collection, the Game Boy Advance games. Like I would give them a pass on the first one because by then it wasn't 100% the standard, but that's the standard now. If you're going to put NES games in particular in a compilation, you should have rewind now. That's just something you should have, especially for a game like Metal Gear, full of all those like insta-kill things. If it had rewind, it would be so much easier. But save states were fine. They did the trick. I'm not
going to lie. Every fucking game should have a rewind. Fuck you. I don't care. Every goddamn game that comes out now should have a rewind.
What I found more problematic was the second one, the Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 little collection thing. That's far more problematic because those don't even have save states. There's no save states. There's no suspend feature. There's no rewind. All there is a very vague save system. And there is no indicator in the game of where your save point is going to be, which is incredibly annoying because there's a couple of rooms with the rolling barrels that'll insta-kill you for some reason. And there's a couple of those that if you're off by the tiniest bit, they'll kill you instantly. And there's no save point. There's no saving before that room. I had to play through a 15-minute sequence. The 3 times that I died on those stupid barrels, I had to replay a 15-minute sequence before I could figure out how to get through that barrel room. And that was really starting to piss me off.
You could have been better. That was also an option.
Sure, I could have. Get good as they were. If I'm not good by now, Chris. I'm never going to be.
Yeah.
Sorry, I am too old for that shit. And the fact that these 2 MSX games, you couldn't even give me save states on these games, or at the very least, like some sort of, because I would get nervous at the end of the day. I would have no idea where the game was saving me. Right? Like, okay, it's the end of the day. I feel like I've gotten to the next part of the game. Like I'm moving to the next elevator. And then I would hit
the
save.
Next set piece, the next whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. But I'd hit save, and then I'd load up the next morning, and I'd be like, well, this was a half an hour ago. Like, I got to do all this over again. And there was no way for me to know that beforehand without loading the game, right? Like, I can't
That's annoying.
Take a test and be like, well, let me check and see where this save point is. It'll just be like, the only indicator you have on the save file is, like, elevator, building 1, elevator, 2nd floor. I'm like, okay, but that doesn't tell me where I am progress wise. That just tells me physically where I am. Like, I've been to this elevator 4 times. Which time is this? Like, I don't know where this is saved. It's such an obnoxiously low effort thing to do for those games. I found it absolutely infuriating. Like
Konami,
especially in a game that's filled with insta death traps like this. Like, you got to give me something. Like, you really got to give me something, because there's a reason they don't make games like that anymore. And when they do, people get pissed off at them because it's shit game design. It was
because it sucks. It's not fun.
It's outdated.
It's not a good time. Yeah,
it's just not something you do anymore. Like, if I had rewind, I don't mind when I walk into a room. It's like, oh shit, there's a hole in the floor. All right, let me try again. You know, that's fine. With the save states in Metal Gear, when I was getting those late stages in the game, and it'd be like moving around and be like, all right, let's see if I can navigate this room. Oh shit, there's a hole. Oh, there's another hole. Wow, that's a dick move. All right, let's try again. And I just load up the save state and go and figure it out. But you can't do that in the MSX one, because, like, well, I didn't know that hole was going to be there. And there's no way to avoid it if you don't already know it's there. And now I've got to replay all this other shit. I'm old. I don't have this kind of time. And I've got 5 other Metal Gear games I want to play. So come on. Help me out here.
Help me out. I'm an old man. God damn it.
So that was kind of obnoxious, but it was well worth it to get through it, because, it's still better than trying to hunt down an MSX computer and play it. And it's a damn fun game.
That's when you put it that way, that it really does kind of drive home the point.
I also booted up Metal Gear Solid and played maybe about 15 minutes of it, just to kind of like fuck around with it to see how it was. It is very refreshing to be on the title screen and press A to advance and B to go back, instead of the PlayStation 1 version where they reversed. We used to get returns on that game. We used to have people come in and say,
broken.
Like, this game's broken. I can't start the game. It's like, it's because the buttons are not the way you think they are. Press this button and you'll be fine. But no games do that. I'm like, I know.
Press the button it says on the fucking screen, you jackass. It's not that hard.
Fucking weird. It's like when they did the Mega Man Anniversary Collection on GameCube. It reversed the jump and shoot buttons. Like, you fucking monsters.
That was unacceptable.
That was absolutely egregious. It's like, there's a standard here, everyone. Like, come on, stick with
that felt purposeful when they did that. They were like, yeah, we're gonna let you play them, but you're gonna hate it.
You're gonna hate every second of it. You're gonna play with this tiny D-pad on this GameCube controller or the analog stick, and we're gonna reverse the buttons on you. Good luck. Fuck off. I'll buy it on PlayStation, jerks.
You pricks. I don't wanna, but I'm gonna.
So the only other thing, that was great, but there was a thing that irked me about Metal Gear Solid. Again, it's an extremely low effort way of solving a problem. So,
okay.
When you get to the tutorials, when Campbell's telling you, like, when you do this, press the X button or the circle button or something, right? Obviously, those buttons don't correspond to the Switch controller. So instead of doing anything to replace the voice, or just, removing that one line and saying press the button, right, or anything like that, or even it just goes quiet. When he starts explaining when anyone starts explaining anything about pressing buttons, they just cut the voices entirely, and it just becomes text.
It's like you're watching Echo, and it's like, now we're from Echo's perspective because we can't hear anything. Got it.
Son of a bitch. And it just stops, and it's not even just that line. It's just like the rest of the conversation is now on mute. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this voice acting is so integral to this experience. Like, I would have rather
Konami, you pricks.
I would have rather them say something about, like, this is what these buttons correspond to, put it on the screen, and have him just still say press the square button or something like that. I would have rather had them do just about anything than what they did.
Than nothing.
It was like they made it worse than nothing. They just took entire chunks of voice acting away because they didn't want to confuse people with the button presses. Like, I don't know. That was kind of annoying. But the game plays great. It plays wonderfully, and I cannot wait to play through it. John was really excited watching me play Metal Gear. He thought the bosses were really interesting. I was like, man, wait till I start playing Metal Gear Solid. You're gonna fucking love this shit.
It's just such an incredible fucking game.
It's such a good game. And then I think back to Metal Gear Solid 2. I'm like, God, that went off the rails. That went so far off the reservation.
It really did. It really fucking did. Because it's Metal Gear Solid 2 is not a bad game. At all.
It's not a bad
game. But it is not a game that anybody wanted. Nobody wanted that.
It is not the game that anyone was requesting. No,
well, and I don't even know if it would have been so bad if you had fucking told people.
Yeah.
Like if you had prepped people
shit
for it.
They released a demo that you play through the demo as Snake. Like they released the whole time. The whole thing. 100% of the time. It was such a bait and switch. It was such a dick move.
It's a super dick move. It's a super dick move. It's not nice. It's not a nice thing to do because it's a really good game.
It is, and I'm glad I played through it. I'm glad. I remember playing through that one. I had put it off for so long, and then I finally did it. And I just remember getting to the end where Campbell's losing his shit, going la-le-lu-le-lo, and then like the lineup of dudes showing up at the end were like, you thought he was the boss, but I was the bad guy the whole time, and I'm stealing this Metal Gear. Catch you later. And then another guy's like, he thinks he's the bad guy, but I'm the real bad guy. And it just kept going. I was like, what the fuck? I remember when I actually beat that game for the first time was when I was dating Karen. Like, we hadn't been together all that long. And I remember getting to the end, and it just kept fucking going. And she was like, how long is this? I was like, I don't know, and I don't know what's happening anymore. There's, like, live action sequences and stuff, like archival footage. Like, I don't even know what's happening. I'm so lost right now.
It's so good, though.
Yeah,
so worth it.
I'm really looking forward to playing through it, at the very least Solid, and then I'm going to mess around with Solid 2 and probably not finish it. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows where I'm going to get with this, because I have other stuff to play now. Which is an interesting piece of conversation. Let me knock out a few other small ones first. The Vampire Survivors DLC did come out yesterday. I was able to play one story mode thing, but I didn't finish it because the story mode takes away all of your power-ups, so like it's basically starting from scratch again, and I was a little too excited and got killed. But what was more exciting to me than the story mode is the Among Us DLC.
Yeah,
which is fucking amazing. I cannot believe how good this is. So they added a new stage, which is like an Among Us stage. It's the spaceship stage, basically.
Which is awesome.
You start in that little lobby where you're starting a game where everyone's joining up in the lobby. Like, you start there, and then like the rest of it's just the stage. And as you play, things will happen and be like, a message will show up on the bottom of the screen saying like, oh, this thing's overloading. You bring up your map and go to that spot to push the button to stop the thing from happening.
That's wild.
That's awesome. Amazing. The weapons that you get, so like you can unlock all these different little Among Us dudes, and they have unique weapons, which is amazing. The one weapon, because I've only unlocked the one guy so far, the red one and the horse. I don't know what the horse is. I've not seen that in Among Us, but I haven't played Among Us in a long time. But the horse's weapon is hats.
Oh, that's exciting.
Throws hats around.
love fucking a dude up with a hat.
It's so funny. But so you get this what do they call it? It's like it's a call or something like that. It's like a vocal thing where it yells.
Okay.
And it's named after a term that's used in the game. But when you evolve the weapon evolves to emergency meeting, which is amazing. What it does is it kills all of one type of enemy on the screen at a time. So what happens whenever the weapon activates, this screen comes up at the bottom with mug shots of all the different enemies that are on the screen at a time.
Nice.
And it crosses out one of them and says that was the imposter, and then it kills all of that enemy. Like, this is genius. I cannot believe how well you integrated Among Us into Vampire Survivors. It is so smart.
That's crazy.
You can get little Among Us dudes to follow you around. Like, they're on the screen, they're on the stage as items. So you pick one of them up, and you can evolve them just like you would evolve items in the game. And you have to get the right colored one to match whichever Among Us weapon you're using to evolve it. But, like, they'll follow you around and, like, do little attacks, like little mini familiars or something, these little mini Among Us dudes. It's unbelievably well done.
That's so cool.
I could not be happier about it. So, like, I'm going to unlock all the Among Us characters. And there's, like, 6 different Among Us characters you can unlock, which I'm really excited about.
And they're all just the little fucking...
Yeah, they're the little dudes.
Color
so
guys,
like the red one, the red one, the yellow one. There's horse. There's one.
The M&Ms.
You can see the you can see their silhouettes on the select screen, and one of them is like one of them is called Imposter, and it's got like the teeth and the tongue and everything.
Nice,
which looks really cool. And the enemies that show up, like a lot of them are just like weird monsters, but a bunch of them are like Among Us ghosts or flaming Among Us dudes or something like that. And they've all got goofy ass descriptions in the bestiary too, which is just, it's so good. I love it so much. I'm so happy about it. And I cannot wait to play. Once I finish that, I'm really excited to get and dive into the story mode because it's so fucking goofy. Like on the title screen of Vampire Survivors, there's this one girl character who's doing a Bayonetta pose. She's like, doing the cover pose from Bayonetta 2, basically, like a one-to-one drawing of that. There's a character in the game, one of the earlier characters you unlock, his name is Poe, and he's just this ancient guy with a cane, and his weapon he starts with is the garlic.
I like him.
The story mode title screen is him in that position.
Nice.
It's fucking glorious. He's got a bunch of garlic in his hand. It's like, this is, oh my God, I could not love this game more. The DLC cost like $2 or something. Like, I don't understand how you do this. I'm so glad you do. You are just wonderful. Console Vampire Survivors, just keep doing what you're doing. I want them to do more video game crossovers because if they're going to keep doing shit this smart, it's just unbelievable to me. And I do love how smart they are. Like, a lot of people keep asking, when's this game coming to PlayStation? And their answer is like, it will come to whatever platforms we can make it for. Because, that's what's taking them so long to port it, because they refuse to give up anything on this game, any control at all. Like, if they farm it out to somebody else, they aren't the ones making the port. And so they're going to make the ports for whatever platforms they're going to come to as thoroughly and properly as they deem necessary, which you got to admire that level of creative control.
I do. I really do. I just fucking want it.
I know.
I get
know.
it.
I want
get what you guys are doing.
To have it too.
I fucking want it. I just want to have it. I've played it.
It is exactly the right brand of stupid.
I've played it on my TV. I play it on my TV with my phone and my backbone and all, like, and it's fine. It works great. But it should be on PlayStation.
There's just something about playing it on your platform of choice, Like, I have it on Xbox, and I played dozens and dozens and dozens of hours of it on my Xbox. I got up to 100% completion on the Xbox before the last 2 expansions, I think. And then I did it all again on Switch, because that's where I want to play the game. And goddamn.
You fucking pricks. Let me
I
have
have to mention that I've been playing Clubhouse games with Karen a bunch lately.
Super lame.
She has been kicking the shit out of me at Yahtzee or yacht dice, as they call it.
Yeah, definitely not Yahtzee.
She got 2 Yahtzees last night in the same game. 2 of them.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Like,
That's how Tiff is when she plays. I don't know. That is like legit the only game that Tiff beats me in is Yahtzee, which is why it's the only one we don't play.
How the fuck do you roll 2 Yahtzees in one game? You asshole.
It's a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of southern fried bullshit, Chris.
That is 100% correct. Hundo P, as the kids say.
Hundo P, southern fried bullshit.
Did you try the Prince of Persia demo?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think?
Once I switched the controls from the analog stick to the D-pad, I liked it much better. I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it.
Yeah.
I definitely
there were
don't
parts
love
that
it.
I loved.
Yeah. I definitely don't love it at full price.
When I got to the points where I was running through traps and stuff, I was like, oh, this is fucking great. This is Prince of Persia. But what was bothering me about it, like, even the combat was pretty okay. Like, I was fine with the combat. I like the look. What was bothering me about it was how much space there was between things, you know? Like,
it feels, yeah, it's pretty barren.
I don't want to say padding's the right word. It's just like when you think back to, like, when you think of the best of Metroidvanias, you look at Metroid Dread, you look at Hollow Knight. They build these worlds so intelligently that when you're traveling through, large areas, there's always something to do. And I felt like even in this demo, there'd be times that kept popping up where it'd be like, okay, so I'm just running straight. There's no enemies. There's no nothing. I'm just running up a staircase or something for a little while here. And it wasn't like crazy egregious.
Just for a bit.
It just threw off the pacing so much.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel quite right. And I wanted to love it because it's been getting so much praise. And I think some of the praise is definitely warranted. Like the segments that felt like classic Prince of Persia with traps and stuff, that was really cool. And the screenshot thing on the map is genius, and that needs to be a standard in every Metroidvania going forward. I think that was a marvelous idea. But outside of that, I didn't give a shit about the story. I've heard it gets better the more you pay attention to it, but, like, I don't know, it started off and it was like, nothing here is grabbing me. Like, nothing here is interesting.
It's okay. It's
because, like,
good.
Sands of Time, I was immediately invested in the main character. He had a great personality. Yep. I was immediately invested in it because of the characterization of the prince. And I didn't get that off of this new guy. I like the concept of the Prince of Persia being like Zelda or something, where that's who you're saving instead of the prince actually getting out there and doing all the business himself. But outside of that, like, there was nothing about his merry band of thief friends who were like what do they call themselves? The Immortals? Like, it wasn't doing it for me. And again, not bad by any stretch. It just wasn't scratching the itch. So I'm okay with not buying it right now, especially considering that I have several Metal Gear games to play, but I'm a little disappointed.
I would have been upset if I would have purchased that at full price.
Yeah,
been
same
like, oh man, this is not what I was expecting. That's kind of
like
lame.
Maybe it'll get there, but I'd probably like slog my way through it and eventually get the hang of it, and probably think very highly of it by the time I was done. But
yeah,
it just seemed like it wasn't quite. They didn't quite nail it the way the best.
It didn't seem
does,
done,
you know.
It
seemed like somebody really
seem
needed to take the editing pen to the map. Is what I think needed to be done to it. Because, like, combat and stuff was pretty thoroughly thought out, and the weird timey mechanics or whatever was going on there was all very interesting. But the map itself, there were too many instances where there was just nothing going on. It did feel good to play. Like, I actually didn't have a problem playing this with the analog stick. similar to Dread.
I didn't have a problem with it. I just prefer playing with the D-pad.
Most of the time, I do kind of feel that way, but this one really didn't bother me at all. I like the abilities you have to like dash through the air and stuff like that. It's cool. It's a cool game. And I'm looking forward to maybe giving it another shot later to see how well it all comes together. But the demo didn't sell me on it. No.
Yeah,
so,
agreed. Hard agree.
This morning, today is Friday, January 26th is when we're recording this episode. And this morning, we got information about Arzette, which is a game that I can't believe I didn't mention in our games of 2024 we're super excited about.
Yeah.
I just completely slipped my mind on this one. I knew I was going to forget something. So
we always do.
There was some information came out about the physical copies of Arzette, and the people at Limited Run Games are damaged. There's something seriously wrong with them because they're releasing alongside Arzette, they're releasing a CD-i controller for Switch. And the worst one, the spoon one. Like,
yeah.
It's
because
the
why
worst
not?
Possible controller. I'm just like, what is wrong with you people? And like, they're totally in on the joke. Like when they were promoting it on Twitter, they were like, we were so preoccupied with whether or not we didn't stop to think if we should. Like, that's exactly what this is. Like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? So when I saw the physical version, I was like, all right, it's $35. That's not crazy expensive if I really like this game. But I'm not ready to take that $35 plunge. You know, I'm not really, I wish I could try the game out first. And I was like, wait a minute, I have a job. Let me contact my editor. So I jumped into our communication program for Nintendo Force, and I was like, if anybody hasn't claimed Arzette, I'd really be interested in reviewing that game if we can get a review code. But Lucas has been out of town a lot lately, so
typical Lucas.
One thing he told me, because it's come up a couple of times where I've been like asking about review codes. He was like, or like, should I ask for something? The answer is always yes. He's like, yeah, you work for a magazine. Ask for review codes. If we don't use it, we don't use it, and it's something that happens from time to time. But we'll eventually use most of the review codes we get. So if there's a game that you think we should cover, just ask for the review code first, and then we'll figure it out later. So I was like, all right, I put my big boy pants on, and I'm just gonna find the developer and reach out and ask for a review code. So I did that this morning, and like 2 hours later, they were like, absolutely. What system do you want it for, and what region are you in? It's like, shit.
Amazing.
So what happened was I actually sent the email. What I asked for was not just a review code. I also asked if for Stone Age Gamer if they could send me one of the CD-i controllers, because we sell CD-i products on our site, and I'm a big fan of the platform. Like, it would be really cool to do some sort of video promotion for that. And they responded. They said, we'll definitely accommodate a key. And then they said for the controller, they'd have to get back.
We'll definitely accommodate a key, but what the fuck is wrong with you?
They said they only have a limited number of those for review, but if they have some available, they would get one for me. And I was like, this is amazing. I'm so excited. So they sent me the key. They haven't gotten back to me on the controller yet, but they sent me the key, and it's all embargoed. I can't do a review or footage or streaming of the game until February 14th, but I can give some impressions. Before we got on the show, I downloaded it to make sure. I wanted to make sure that nobody else had claimed the game at Nintendo Force, so I wanted to hear back from my editor before I used the review code for myself. So I got the all clear, and I downloaded the game while I was putting Ellie to bed, and I spent about 10 minutes playing the game because I was just so curious, what is this game actually like? Because the premise of Arzette is, what if the CD-i Zelda games were good, but also extremely accurate to what was created at that time? You know, similar to that, like the Simon Quest game. That's like, what if Castlevania 2 was good and then they kind of turn it into a whole thing. This is really, really, really accurate to what was happening at the time. And I know what I want this game to be. Yeah. And what I want this game to be is... So I was enthralled by those CD-i Zelda games as a kid, right? Because I hadn't played them.
Yeah.
I had just seen the footage of them. And there was everything about the way those games looked, except for like Link's sprite and some of the artwork. And so, of course, it's very odd looking, but there's a feeling to that game and games on CDI from that time that felt so very specifically futuristic. And obviously, that's not where the future of gaming went. Polygons happened, and then gaming went 3D. Right. But like, so much about it seemed like this is the future of video games, right? There's these animated sequences. There's all this voice acting. The map is super detailed and the backgrounds are all really detailed. Like, there was just something so... I was in love with the look of these games. Now, obviously, when I finally got to play them and felt the way it felt to play them...
Ooh.
Now I'm right in the toilet. Mind. But I never stopped liking the way the games looked or sounded. I never stopped being really enthralled by that look. And that's what's so exciting about Arzette, and being like, what if you did exactly that, but in high definition and made it good? And so far, that seems to be exactly what this is. Like, it is so incredibly faithful to those CD-i Zelda games. There are sound effects that are exactly the same, like swinging your sword and defeating enemies. They have voice actors from the CD-i Zelda games playing roles in this game. In fact, I'm 99% sure that the person who's voicing Arzette was the voice of Zelda in Wand of Gamelon.
No shit.
And definitely who was doing the tutorial was Link. And he sounds way older, obviously, but like, there's
it's like 30 years later.
That's definitely that guy. I recognize that voice. That's amazing. But it's so interesting to me to play this so far, because it is fulfilling this like fantasy version of these games that I built up in my head. Like, it's playing like what it looked like it played like on that CDI infomercial, which I thought was really cool. And having played through Wand of Gamelon and Faces of Evil, there's a decent game underneath that. It just wasn't built very well. And this doesn't have that problem. Everything runs smoothly, but it's like, it's also so accurate to that. Like, I encountered a character in the woods, and it just went straight into this weird animated sequence that's drawn just like the CDI games. But the interaction was like, it was slightly goofy, but also like completely earnest, just like those old games. Like, it's treating it with such reverence. And it is so far, like, for me personally, a dream come true. But I have no idea what this game would play like to somebody that doesn't have any nostalgia for that specific look of like, man, this is what the future of gaming is. But having it be like you imagined it instead of what it actually was. So it's very interesting so far. The story is not bad. It's actually kind of entertaining. Kind of like the story of... It almost seems like it's following up on the story of Faces of Evil and Wand of Gamelon. Like,
really?
Because like the bad guy, the totally not Ganon bad guy, is like escaped from a book, you know?
Naturally.
Which is how that's how you beat him at the end of Faces of Evil. You trap him in a book, you know? It's like, this is really interesting stuff to me. Like I said, I've been through like 10 minutes of the game, and I got to do some running around and some combat, and like, the platforming feels good. The character feels tight to control. It feels like I always imagined Faces of Evil feeling like playing.
That's nuts, man.
I, so far, in my little 10-minute time with it, couldn't be happier. Obviously, there's a lot to go through, because if this really does play like... If it really does play like... It's structured like Faces of Evil and Wand of Gamelon, it's got some hurdles to get through to be an actually fun game. But I have a lot of faith in this. Like, they've really shown off a lot of good stuff in the first 10 minutes, including a bonus stage that I found that is quite literally Hotel Mario. It's a bunch of doors. It said close on the doors. It's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And it even has the same exact door closing sound effect as Hotel Mario. I could not believe my eyes. I was just like, what? How many people are going to get this? It seems like it's aimed at such a specific audience, and I don't know who outside of
who
me,
that audience might be.
Besides me, who else is this for? And it's doing such a good job of appealing to me personally. And I'm like, it's gonna be a tough review to write, because how do I remove that? How do I look at this as like, if you're not interested in the CD-i Zelda games, is this objectively a fun game? And I think it is. But again, with my extremely limited time, like if you're not an absolute psychopath, will you enjoy this game? Because Snake's Revenge, I didn't want to play that anymore. When I was getting ready to do the show, I was like, man, I don't want to put this down. Like, I'm having a lot of fun. I don't want to stop playing this yet. So that's a real good sign. My first impressions of it are very high. Somebody in the Discord was saying that they thought this looked kind of like the plumbers don't wear ties situation. And I really don't think that's the case. And at least that's definitely not the intent. The whole plumbers don't wear ties thing is just like, this is a train wreck. And this is not a good game.
Come look at it.
Come look at this. It's like Night Trap. Night Trap's not a good game. Right. And this isn't just Faces of Evil. It's not just those games reskinned. This is somebody tried to make that concept good, because the concept itself was good. And seeing these characters all drawn up like this, everything animated in that exact CDI style of like, but it's all in high definition, it's so hard to explain. Like, this is what I thought the future of gaming was before I knew what 3D gaming was. And here it is, fully realized of what I thought the future was going to be, what I thought next generation games were going to look like. Here it is, fully realized of what my imagination was, except it's not Zelda, it's this new cast of characters. It's wild. It is such a trip. I'm so glad it exists.
That's so cool, man. Like, I really hope the rest of the game is good. Past that, like, initial joy of, they did the thing. That's amazing. That's so cool. And then, like, let's hope the rest of the game is good, because, like, that'll carry you pretty far, but not all the way,
Yeah, like, is it... Because I've always suspected that there's potential for those games to be an enjoyable adventure. This is the test. Like, can it be done? Maybe. We'll find out. I'll be able to talk about it more next month. I'm going to be playing playing the hell out of this and Metal Gear, which will be a really fun back-to-back situation.
Yeah, no, those almost the exact same games.
It's to definitely match. All right, we're going long already here. You have anything to talk about?
Nah, man, I didn't play shit. I don't even have a good reason why. I think I went so hard on Spider-Man 2. And just like so fucking deep into it. Did I talk last week? You weren't here. I don't remember. You certainly don't remember. I don't platinum games. And if I did talk about it, you didn't hear it. So, but I don't go after the platinum trophy on games almost ever. But this game, I decided, I was like, yeah, fuck it. Let me see what's up. And I cannot do it until the DLC comes out, because one of the things you have to do is a stealth takedown, and it's just not possible. I've done literally everything else in the game, and the only thing that happens now are like these random ass little like some bad guys will show up, and it's like, ooh, you gotta go stop the bad guys. There's bad guys afoot. But they're just like, they're hijacking a fucking armored car or whatever. And it's like, well, I can't fucking sneak up and web take down those guys. That sucks. So I gotta wait for the DLC. But apparently, I do know that there is DLC planned. I know it was in the leak that happened. Like, people know apparently what the DLC is going to be. I do not, because I didn't fucking look at it. You know, because I'm better than you. No, I don't want to know. I want to be surprised. So, but because I went so fucking hard on Spider-Man, I was like, I probably need to take a little bit of a break here. So
that's fair. That's fair.
All
right. Well, there's definitely some news to talk about. There are some things to discuss.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we did that.
So it's time for week old news. First up, we actually have a couple of follow-ups here. This is the big one that's been going on the last couple of days. I'm reading this report from IGN because this headline really sums it all up. Microsoft becomes the second ever $3 trillion company after laying off 1,900 people.
It's fucking disgusting. It's fucking
really
gross, man.
Knowing really how much of a golden parachute they taught. What did they give Bobby Kotick? Like,
I know.
There was some sort of he got some insane amount of money after leaving the company, the fucking scumbag. So they paid all that out. And then they laid off all these employees. A lot of it was because of overlap. But still, you paid $69 billion to acquire this company. And
you've got the money. You fucks.
You got the money. I think somebody broke down the math. I think it was somebody broke down the math. Like, they could have kept every one of those 1,900 employees and paid them like, I don't know, $60,000 a year or something like that, $70,000 a year,
which is not enough. It's not enough.
And they could have kept them for like 2 years, and it still wouldn't have been what they paid Bobby Kotick to leave. Like,
who doesn't need the fucking money?
I just want to barf everywhere. Like, I tell you,
it makes it real hard.
Microsoft does some fun stuff, but I tell you, I'm not their biggest fan this week.
It makes it hard to be. There's a similar, not similar. That's not fair. But it makes it hard to be a fan of these particular things, because video games are mainstream. Like, they are a huge money-making endeavor. However, I would argue that they are still somewhat niche, right? There's still a nicheness, which is not a fucking word, but there is that kind of quality to them. And when shit like this happens, it makes it hard to be a part of that fandom. Of like, God, you fucking, could you just not? And where I was saying, mistakenly, it's not similar, but the feeling of like being a fan of this particular, I don't know if you've seen anything that has been happening with Vince McMahon recently.
No.
As of tonight, Tiff texted me about 10 minutes ago. He resigned tonight as the director of the board of TKO, which is after the merger of WWE and UFC happened in September, November, something like that. Vince McMahon he came back. He left a little while ago because there was there were allegations about the misappropriation of funds for a NDA that he made an employee sign, which is never a good look. When you have to tell people to not fucking talk about what happened when they leave, it's because you've done something wrong. And because he then came back to work and broke his part of the agreement, this woman has released her statement. Vince is going to get named in a lawsuit. John Laurinaitis is getting named, and it is fucking gross. It is a disgusting sex trafficking Like, it is fucking horrendous. And Vince came out tonight and he was like, all of this is bullshit. I'm resigning, but just so you know, all of this is bullshit. I'm not going to work here anymore. But all of this is a fucking lie. Like, if it's a lie, then why are you fucking resign? And it's just, it's so bad, Chris. You know, Slim Jim, right? Who has been the Slim Jim spokesman forever?
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Macho Man Randy Savage, who died 20 fucking years ago almost. He's still the fight. He's still on all the shit. Macho Man's been dead for a very, very long time. WWE, WWF, whatever, Slim Jim, they have been in bed together for a very, very long time. This podcast comes out on Monday. The Royal Rumble will have happened 2 days previous to this podcast coming out. Slim Jim announced today that because of the allegations levied against Vince, they are cutting their relationship with WWE.
Wow.
It's like, dude, like, that's fucking huge. That is massive. But it's just like, fuck, man. WWE just signed a $5 billion 10-year contract with Netflix to start in January 2025. WWE Raw. Just for Raw, one of their shows of the 3 will air live on Netflix on Monday nights from now on. Starting in January. $5 billion fucking dollars. Then this shit comes out, and if you read through any of it, like, it is, if think about like depraved sexual billionaire bullshit, that's what this whole thing. Right? Who doesn't? That's what this is. When you're like, I wonder if it's got this kind of thing in it. It does. Shocker. It's got that in it. It's got like weird fucking sex pest shit in it. And it's like, being a fan of professional wrestling is already hard enough. Could you just fucking not? You know, being a fan of video games, sometimes it gets you looked at scant ways when you're adults like we are, and we're like, yeah, we still play video games. And then shit like this, could you not? Could you not be a fucking asshole? For like a minute. You're worth $3 trillion fucking dollars. With a T.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's
you.
Most of the dollars.
That's oh my god, just fuck you, man.
Well, continuing with the Microsoft news, because it goes a little bit further. This website called True Achievements posts that Xbox physical games departments reportedly shut down as part of Microsoft layoffs. So,
oh yeah, they're done.
They're just really all about this all digital future.
You are getting Games Pass, and you're gonna like it. That's it.
And if you're on Xbox, you better not like owning your stuff, because you're not gonna.
Oh man, yeah, and Sony's gonna follow suit, and Nintendo will eventually follow suit as well, because that is where we're headed. You know, like, it is. I think. I don't know that Nintendo and Sony will ever go fully digital with like no physical games.
Difficult to say. There's something,
but probably at some point, right? You'd have to imagine
like
at some point.
There's some sort of specific pride involved in it. Like, I don't know how to put it into words. Like, Sony and Nintendo are such old school Japanese businesses. Like, no, this is the way things are done. We have physical products.
Yeah. I mean, because like the weird thing is, like, nobody has any issues about owning things physically on Steam. You know, like, that's never brought up of like, well, you don't actually own it, you know, like, and I don't know enough to talk about Steam really, but I never hear that mentioned as like, I buy all my PC games physically, you know?
Well, the PC and console markets have always been that different, you know?
No, I know. It's just, it's kind of, but it's still a game. Like, at the end of the day, I don't know. But no, it's not, it's not fucking cool. I don't think it's cool at all.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I like really my physical stuff. Josh Fairhurst from Limited Run made this statement saying that we'll continue to support Xbox physical releases whenever possible. This comes off of the news, I think, a week or two ago, where they were asked about the Rocket Knight thing, and he said...
Oh, yeah, he said, yeah, like, it doesn't sell.
It doesn't sell. Like, we'll make physical games when we can. We like Xbox, but we also can't just make products that aren't going to sell. That's not how you stay in business.
Well, it's just not the platform for it. That's what,
it's
like,
not,
Xbox is a very specific thing.
A lot of Xbox owners don't really care about the physical media. So I don't like it, but that's just one of the reasons I'm not an Xbox fan. I'm not going to shit on anyone who doesn't care. It's like the people who shit on a Nintendo Switch Online. It's a virtual console. Like, it actually doesn't bother me that I don't own those games. It's like signing up for Netflix. Like, okay, well, I have this
I know that
allows me access to these. You know, I know that going in. It's the ecosystem I'm buying into, and if I ever don't want to do it anymore, then I won't. And there's other ways to play those games if necessary. But I find it to be worthwhile. So I don't like it as far as the whole phasing out physical goods entirely, but at the same token, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
And there is a lot of that. I don't know for sure, but I think there is a lot of crossover from like old school PC gamers or like even like modern PC gaming, like that the ideology around it that has transferred over to Xbox. It's why, like, when they bought Double Fine, I was like, well, that's a weird studio for you guys to buy. That doesn't seem to jive with what the Xbox market is. You know, like, that just, to me,
it's like when they bought Rare.
Like when they bought Rare, when Ori and the Will of the Wisps came out, it's like, that's not a game for your system. It's okay that it's not. You know, it might play very well on there, but that's a PlayStation and Nintendo game. You know, Double Fine, very similar to that. In the same token, like, Gears of War is an Xbox thing. That's not a Nintendo thing. That would sell horribly on the Switch. Oh, well, I don't know. Everything fucking sells well on the Switch, but
it's true.
but you know what I mean? Like, it's you have your market. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's weird, and their market is the digital. I don't fucking know. I'm rambling. Sorry, Chris.
The next story, I love this. This is really exciting to me. Personally, this is coming from Go Nintendo. Check out HD footage of Nintendo's Space World 2000 demos and displays. Space World 2000 was their when they unveiled the GameCube for the first time, and they showed off that incredible footage of what eventually became Metroid Prime and Star Fox Adventures and that Zelda thing where Link is fighting doing the sword fight with Ganondorf.
Yeah.
This footage has been around for a long time, but it's always this low quality stuff. Somebody found a DVD that was released in Japan that has direct feed footage of their entire event. The show floor, off-screen footage, and then like the direct feed footage of their entire digital presentation, which the footage of like the Metroid Prime footage, the Zelda footage, the Pokemon, the Meowth's dance party thing, Super Mario 128, and they ripped the DVD and uploaded it on YouTube in like high definition, 60 frames per second. It's amazing. Seeing this stuff with this clarity is mind blowing, and I'm like super sad this didn't happen before my Zelda video came out. But the one that's getting me the most, the one that is killing me more than anything, is the Metroid Prime footage.
Yeah,
because there was something about it that was always seemed more low resolution or more artifacted covered than anything else in the videos. And watching this footage, when the door opens up and you can see what's happening in the door behind Samus in this early demo footage, is unreal. I am just this is so crazy to see in this high definition. I'm over the moon. I love that this kind of stuff keeps getting discovered. It's like, what's going to be next? What are we gonna get? What are we gonna get new footage of next? Space World 2000 was like the thing. That was an unbelievable year for Nintendo, showing off the GameCube. So much promise and hype in these videos, and like this whole presentation with the weird booth babes and the Game Boy Advance cable that plugs into Japanese cell phones. Like, this is just fucking nuts. I can't believe this is in high quality footage. I can't believe it's real. I love it.
It is very,
awesome.
very cool. Yeah, it's very cool.
Also coming from Go Nintendo, we had a bit of a discussion about this on our Discord. Microids? I've never heard of them before. Microids Records celebrates Atari's 50th anniversary with special vinyl release. I would buy this in a heartbeat, except, so it's basically the soundtrack to Atari 50. So it's got the Robert Baffy's stuff that he did for the menu music, and then, you know, all the stuff from the newer games, like the remaster of Yars' Revenge and Quadra Tank and Neo Breakout. Really cool stuff. Vector Sector, like, this is neat stuff that I'd like to have this soundtrack. That would be nice. Except it's $45 for a single record.
Yeah.
Now, to put that into perspective, most single records like this are around like $30, $35.
And even that's a bit much.
You know, it's a bit much, but you understand it. It's a niche product, right? This isn't something that's going to be out there all the time. So if I have to spend $30 to $35 on a record, if it's something that I care enough about, I don't mind. But like, all right, so let's see. Limited run. I just pre-ordered this because I'm a goon. We were talking about this, the Rocket Knight soundtrack. This is a 3 LP, okay? So it's 3 discs. One with Rocket Knight Adventures, one with Sparkster, and one with Genesis Sparkster, okay? That's $60 for 3 discs. And they want $45 for one. Like, so I'm going to go to Ship to Shore, right? Ship to Shore. That's not that site. Ship to Shore. What are you selling stuff for here? Let's look at video game soundtracks on Ship to Shore. Nice folks there.
Good people. Good enough, anyway.
So let's see. We've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time soundtrack. It is on 2 records, and this is the special glow-in-the-dark one. That's $52. Yeah. That's 2 records, $52, and that's a special one, glow-in-the-dark. Now, if this Atari 51 has something interesting or special about it, okay, I'd be willing to entertain that. But like Ninja Turtles 2, Back from the Sewers, $32. Even Contra Hardcore, that's a double album, that's $40. That's just for a standard
$20 a record.
The Mother 2 soundtrack. The Mother 2 soundtrack is $45. That is a double album with a ton of music on it. So
and Ship to Shore is like fucking niche, man.
Yeah.
Like, they are a small ass little company.
So what I'm getting at here is this is
the
thing of it is they're a good at least $10 over regular market price for this kind of thing. And it's really bothersome because Atari has been putting this bit of a tax on some of their stuff. Like we were talking a few weeks ago about their recharged games through limited run.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, it's $35 for 2 of the games? There's only 2 per game? That doesn't seem right. And it's like, sometimes their stuff is just pricey for the sake of being pricey, I guess. I'd love to hear more about why this costs as much as it does, because I would really like to own this. I think it's right up my alley. I adore that Atari 50 menu music. I think it's amazing. I think Bob Baffy did just an incredible job on this soundtrack, and it's a really cool.
But not $45.
$45 for a single record. It's just that's a lot to spend.
Yeah, it's a big ask.
Yeah, it's a big ask. I don't get it. I guess I wanted to mention this. So IGN had posted, a bunch of other places have posted articles about this Pal World game that seems to have taken off.
Pokemon with guns.
Yeah, and that's 100% why it's taken off, because it's Pokemon with guns. It's like, from what I've come to understand, it's a decent game, but it's Pokemon with guns, and that's why it's taken off. It's probably not going to be a long-lasting thing, but then again, what do I know? But
it sold over 1 million copies in its first 8 hours of release.
Exactly. It sold crazy well.
That's nuts.
Because it's Pokemon with guns. Like, it's not selling because of what it is. It's selling because of the pitch. It's everyone, I want to get this Pokemon with guns. I want to stick it to Nintendo. And I'm not making that second part up. That is a big part of the conversation is, I want to stick it to Nintendo. There's a whole meme going on about the Star Wars meme. Like, I don't want this game to succeed. I just want Nintendo to fail. Like, what is wrong with you people? Like, I get it.
Understand.
Pokemon games aren't as good as you want them to be these days. But, like,
but still,
to be that fucking angry about it? Like, stop. I don't know. I think this Pal World thing is weird. I think I mean, it's such an obvious, I don't know if rip-off's the right word, but it's like the characters are all like, yeah, I know what Pokemon that is. Like, that is taking, lifting direct assets from these various Pokemon to be just barely legally distinct enough to not get sued. Like, it's not a secret what this is.
No, and I somewhat appreciate the audacity of it.
Oh, yeah, me too. Like,
good I don't love it, but because there's also, like, I believe there's, like, some AI-generated artwork within, like, that's part of that game. So, like, but
there is a definite feel of scuzziness to it. Like, I don't like guns. I don't like the fact that the thing that's the selling point of this is like, yeah, well, let's make Pokemon, hold AR-15s. Like, yay.
I mean, it's not that, to be fair. That is not an accurate characterization of it. But it is Pokemon Pokemon with weapons, I think, is better than just Pokemon with guns. Are some of them projectile-based things? Yes. I am, unless I am sorely mistaken, I do not believe that there's Pikachu with an AR-15. I believe it's more fantastical than that.
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at a screenshot of I'm trying to find it in this video that was attached to the screenshot. But, like, it's that thing that
also,
looks like
keep in mind that it has been modded incredibly heavily since its release.
Oh, yeah. There was definitely the mod that had that put Pokemon in it.
Yeah,
that was that got shut down right quick.
Yeah. Like I said,
it's got a chain gun. This one's got a shotgun. This one's called holding a rifle.
The audacity of it. It's still, it definitely is scuzzy.
Yeah, but again, I'm with you. I appreciate the audacity. I don't love the idea of, like, let's have these cutesy characters holding realistic guns. And that does appear to be a part of the game. But, to each their own. It's just, I don't like guns. But you know what? Batman doesn't like guns either, and people think he's cool.
No, he just murders people by throwing them off of buildings.
He doesn't do it with guns.
That's right. They're sleeping. They're taking a nap.
On happier news, Koji Kondo has been selected as Hall of Fame inductee at the 27th DICE Awards. That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
About damn time. That guy
it's well deserved.
Yeah, he's awesome. He wrote some of the most iconic music of the last 100
He's all right.
years. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's all right.
He's all right.
He's doing all right. Yeah, and I guess
if I would argue most of the population of the world can hum your theme song that you've written, the Hall of Fame. Like, you're good.
Yeah, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. You've earned it. The last thing we'll do, because this section's already going on too long, and we're going to be here until 4 in the morning at this rate. Destructoid is reporting Nintendo to end online play services for 3DS and Wii U on April 8th.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it was going to happen eventually. It sucks, but this is a part of the world we live in. They're not going to keep online play for Wii U. I get. I feel like there's got to be enough people still playing 3DS stuff to at least keep it going for another year or two. So I feel like that system was so popular, but like
it was
not keeping Wii U up and running. I get it. There's still people playing Splatoon, but at the same time, like there's like 25 Wii U's out there at this point. There's got to be such a small amount of people playing Wii U online that okay, I get it. But 3DS had a lot going for it. But then again, I didn't really play much online 3DS games, so maybe
yeah,
it's a thing.
I mean, I don't know.
Stinks,
yeah,
but
if you emulate it, you'll be able to play online. So don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
There you go. All right, and with that, we're going to take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, we're going to tackle the 10, 20, 30, 40, and by God, we're going to do it as quick as we can because it's getting late. We're going to start recording the show at 6 p.m.
On Thursday. We're just going to fucking go. Kris and I will take off every Friday from work. It'll be great.
This will be our work. All right. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. Hi everyone, Kris here. Podcast listening is free, but podcast creation is not. That's why the Geekade Patreon exists. In an effort to help us pay the bills, we've got a Patreon page set up where you can gain access to our monthly podcast topic schedule, get early access to many of our shows, and more. If you'd like to help support Geekade and keep these shows running week after week, head over to the Geekade Patreon page, linked in the show notes of this very podcast.
We are Safe at Home, the leading dog rescue in the heart of New Jersey. Are you searching for a loyal companion, a dog that will bring love and joy to your home? Look no further than Safe at Home. At Safe at Home, we believe in giving every dog a second chance. We rescue, rehabilitate, and find loving forever homes for dogs in need, right here in the Garden State. Our dogs are ready to make a lasting impact on your life. Each one has a unique story, a wagging tail, and an incredible capacity for love. When you adopt from Safe at Home, you're not just gaining a pet, you're becoming a part of our family. Our dedicated team ensures a seamless adoption process, providing ongoing support and guidance. With New Jersey's beautiful parks, beaches, and trails, you and your new furry friend will have endless opportunities for adventures and cherished memories. Safe at Home relies on the support of compassionate individuals like you. Your donations and volunteer work enable us to continue saving lives and finding forever homes for these amazing dogs. Join us in creating a safer, happier community for dogs in New Jersey. Together we can make a difference and give every dog the chance to feel safe at home. Visit our website or call us now to learn about how you can be a part of the Safe at Home mission. Safe at Home, because every dog deserves to be loved and protected. www.safeathomerescue.org.
All right, we're back. All right. It's time for the 10, 20, 30, 40, where we're talking about important games released 10, 20, 30, and 40 years ago. I guess we'll start by diving back 10 years into the past to the year of 2014. We're looking at what are we looking at? These various platforms of 2014 we're looking at PS3 and 4, 360 and Xbox One, Wii U, Wii, DS, 3DS, PSP, Vita, Ouya. Those were the primary platforms out in the world, starting with the PlayStation 3. in January 2014, there was some schlock. Because it's January, and you're not really getting a whole lot of the... you're not getting the good stuff in January. Not really. There's some new flavor of MotoGP. There was a Assassin's Creed pack of some sort. Tomb Raider Game of the Year edition. That's good stuff. You got Dragon Ball Z, Battle of Z. I don't even remember what that is, but it only has a 54.
I don't either.
Score, so
yeah, I don't remember that one.
They were cranking out those Dragon Ball games back then, and that's kind of it. You know, there's just a couple of other like rando things, but some Japanese games that I don't even think came out in America, and that's kind of it.
This Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, wasn't that was a thing, right? Don't people like that game?
I remember that game. That's not showing up on my list. See, I'm looking directly off the Metacritic page. I know you have a different list.
Yes, I have the game facts on January 6th of 2014, according to them.
Kingdoms of Amalur for PS3.
Yeah.
Let's see. Was that Reckoning?
Yes. The Reckoning.
Good old Reckoning. My favorite.
See, this says February 7th on the Wikipedia. I don't know, man.
February 7th, 2012.
That's very different. Maybe that was a digital thing, which is why I'm thinking about it. Yeah,
it's not showing up on the Metacritic page.
Never mind. I'll shut up then. Yeah, it makes it even less cool.
Yeah, not great. Let's see how the competition did. How about PS4? PS4 is out at this point, so what's PS4 doing? PS4 also has the Black Flag. It has the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. It's got Call of Duty Ghosts Onslaught.
Yep.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's...
Don't Starve? I feel like Don't Starve was... I don't know that was necessarily... No, never mind.
Don't Starve isn't a huge...
it's not nothing, but it's not...
It's not nothing. It's a very popular game. And the console, finally coming out on consoles, that was kind of a big deal, but not...
Kind of cool.
Not like a take your pants off and hammer them kind of deal.
Well, let's see. What do we got on the Xbox? In the Xbox territory, Xbox 360, still getting some indie games. We got the Assassin's Creed Black Flag Illustrious Pirates Pack, Liberation HD, no more Assassin's Creed, some rando zombie games on the Live Arcade. We got a Dead Rising collection. Let's see, is there anything more on the next page? Yeah, that's kind of cool. Unreal Land. There's that Tomb Raider Game of the Year edition. There's a Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z, Call of Duty Ghosts Onslaught, Halo Spartan Assault. What the heck is Spartan Assault? Whatever, I don't care.
I don't know. New Halo is
Arcade. It's got a 51 meta score. What is? I'm click on this. What are you? A disappointing twin stick shooter.
All right.
Well, there you go. Neat. All right. Well, how about Xbox One? How about Xbox One? You got something good for us, Xbox One? I'm going to say probably not, because at the top of the page we're already in March. So
yeah,
not the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, Dead Rising 3, Operation Broken Eagle, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Illustrious Pack, Call of Duty Ghosts Onslaught. And that's it. Just 4.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that Tomb Raider game does a lot of heavy lifting. That game really is fucking incredible. But we've talked about it a bunch of times each time it came out on the fucking separate platforms.
Yeah, and this is a re-release of it. It's the definitive edition. So, I mean, hooray, but also woof.
But all right.
January. Not hitting me. What about Wii U? Wii U is going to be our savior, Dan.
I'm
sure of it. I'm sure
I actually
of it
think it is. I'm not even making it up.
I don't know what you have on your list, but over here I have Kokoto Magic Circus 2, Unepic, and F1 Race Stars.
Yeah, I mean, right there is just massive. Just massive.
F1, I remember seeing this game. It's just a bunch of hideous cartoon interpretations of Formula One racing stars. Or at least I'm assuming that's because I couldn't pick any of them out of a lineup, but I'm assuming that's what that's supposed to be.
It's the best.
Well, how about the Wii? Were there any Wii games released in January 2014? August? June? December? No. I go straight from December to May. I don't have anything. You got anything for Wii this month? I feel like that's just not a thing. Yeah.
No, it's just not a thing.
How about original DS? That original DS is even still cooking at this point. It's just bananas. I don't think there's much Marvel
I don't have anything
Lego.
for it, yeah.
No, that was February. Nothing in the US. There was something in Japan, but no, that's not what we're talking about. The old 3DS had Chibi Robo Photo Finder, which was okay. I hate to agree with this Metascore of 49, but that's about where I'd put that game. I never finished that one. It was all right. It was like very gimmicky with the 3DS's camera, and then just a bunch of Japanese stuff that I've never heard of before.
Yeah, not great.
No, not spectacular. Senior 3DS. What about PSP? Will PSP be our savior? Let's see, January 2014, we're looking at nothing in the U.S. These Japanese games like Butterflies Poison, Kiniro no Korda 3, Another Sky featuring Jinan. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to say PSP.
Nope.
Not
Vita wins.
So great either. What we got on the
Vita? A bunch of shit. Dragon Ball Z games. Gunhouse.
Fleet
Ollie
Connection.
Ollie. That's the one. Ollie Ollie's fucking great.
Still looking. Oh, there it is. Yeah, January 21st. Ollie Ollie. That Battle of Z game. Yeah, okay. Ollie Ollie. There you go. There's your game of the month.
Yep. It's such a fun game. It controlled so well. It played so well. It was just a really, really fun game. The latest one that they've put out, that Ollie Ollie World, super duper fun. It's got a great personality. Like, it's just a really solid, really fun skateboarding game.
All right, you've got the list of Ouya games. Don't you dare read that whole thing. Give me some highlights.
I won't. Well, the first game on the list, a ball-slapping good time. That's what I call my Friday nights. I don't know what that game's about, but I'm super into it. Concussion boxing, because head injuries are fucking funny. Let's see what else we got. Marble Masters, The Pit. That sounds awesome. Octane.
Sounds like a ball slapping good time.
It certainly does. Real Men Wear Pink HD. So that's something. Yeah, I mean, this is just looking at the list of the Ouya games these last couple of months makes me really understand why the Ouya was not successful.
Bummer.
Because this is just shit. Like, we do this. We are involved in this. We are 499 episodes. We are balls deep into video gaming. And, man, I have never heard of any of these games. That's not a great sign.
Not
for
so
how
much.
good they were. Because I've never heard of them, and neither of you.
Nope.
And between the two of us, boy. Anyway, we're not exactly breaking new ground here, though, saying that the Ouya sucked. Like,
not so much.
Spoilers. Yeah, what a shit
back.
month. What a shit year.
Let's see how January 20 years ago. 20 years ago, January 2004. We're talking PS2, Xbox, GameCube, Game Boy Advance, Nokia N-Gage, and theoretically PlayStation 1. I don't think there was anything this month, but I do believe that platform was still technically alive.
I don't know. I've got one thing that I'm going to double check here while you're blabbering on.
Yeah,
about
the earliest thing I have, 2004, is February for PS1. So, what do you got? What's your one thing? What's your PS1 thing?
Yeah, see, now it says it was It must have been, I don't fucking know. This must have been some sort of re-release or something. Because GameFAQs had Final Fantasy Anthology as January 1st of 2004. But
that game was before that.
Yeah, that game is way before that. So, the game came out in 1999. The European edition came out in 2002. I don't know where they would get 2004 from. I don't know. Yeah.
Strange. Well, let's move on to PlayStation 2. PlayStation 2, obviously, already the front runner in the market. Let's see how it compares to the competition in January of 2004. We have the utterly miserable Underworld, The Eternal War. NFL Street, which is solid.
Such a good game. So fun.
Star Trek Shattered Universe, Dot Hack Quarantine Part 4, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, Chess Challenger, Maximo and the Army of Zin, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. Wow, okay. Yeah. Hitting it hard. Sonic Heroes, a terrible game. People seem to like it an awful lot.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I wanted to like it. It seemed like a neat idea, but I do not enjoy it. Mafia, that would feel like that was a big deal, but I feel like it was just because it was called Mafia and everybody likes that stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you a damn thing about the game itself.
That's fine.
That's it. Yep. Then we're into February. All right, not bad for a January. NFL Street. That's high quality.
NFL Street is great. And
Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance was fun.
What was so smart about that was that this is about the time where if you were a yearly Madden player, you're like, all right, it's almost the Super Bowl. I'm kind of done with this year's game. I've done all the shit. Oh, look, a new football game, just as I'm excited for the Super Bowl. Wonderful. And it was super fun. Yeah.
Well, let's see how the Xbox compared. The Xbox also got NFL Street, got Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. That was also on PlayStation, wasn't it? Or am I forgetting? Nope, yeah, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, also on PlayStation. What else we got here? Got to switch pages. That Star Trek game, Baldur's Gate 2. Ooh, Auto Modelista!
I do like that game quite a bit.
That's a neat one. Oh, geez, and Sega GT Online? Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
And Sonic Heroes.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. I feel like Auto Modelista might push Xbox over the top.
Here. I don't know, man. I would, for me personally, and I like that game quite a bit. But I really like the Maximo games.
Oh, true. Really I'm forgetting about Maximo versus Army of Zin. Yeah, that's pretty darn good. That's a good solid month for both of them. Good work.
It is. Yeah, that's a good January.
Let's see how bad GameCube drops the ball. Sonic Heroes, Conflict Desert Storm 2, Back to Baghdad, NFL Street, and that's it. Good work, guys.
Yeah, again, NFL Street's great. Sonic Heroes, people liked.
Indeed.
Conflict Desert Storm 2, Back to Baghdad is not for me.
No. And that's more of a PlayStation thing. This is a port of that game that existed on other platforms. I don't know. I don't think it was really... Yeah. It did too much for the GameCube audience. So, not spectacular. It does look like their February's pretty good, but we'll get to that next month.
That's right.
What about Game Boy Advance? The old GBA. What's going on in January? Sonic Battle, which is actually okay.
Yeah.
That was the weird 3D-ish fighting game on Game Boy Advance. It's strange. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. And something called CT Special Forces.
I don't.
Ultimate Winter.
I don't know that at all.
I can already tell you that the GBA is probably going to win February, though. That's just based on one release alone. But again, we'll get there next month. So yeah, you got a Phoenix Wright game, and you got Sonic Battle. That's not bad. This wasn't a bad month overall. Oh, N-Gage is still a thing. What's going on with N-Gage? Where's 2004? Is there even anything January 2004? Yep, we got Sega Rally Champ and FIFA Football 2004.
Yep.
Side talking. Good old Nokia N-Gage. Man, oh man. All right, well, it's certainly
overall
better than
way
10.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Way better than the 10.
Massive improvement over the 10.
But not good.
Nothing to really write home about. All right, so let's travel 30 years into the past. 30 years ago in 1994 in the world of video games, what is going on? I had this set.
We've got 3DO. We've got the arcade.
Yep.
I don't know how accurate this is, but I do have Operation Wolf 3 listed for the arcade, so fuck it.
Yeah, they just kept making Operation Wolf games.
Oh, they're super fun. Game Boy, Genesis, some Macintosh games here, some NES games. I don't know how, again, not entirely sure. You can correct me.
Well, let's
and then
see.
Super Nintendo.
NES. Yeah, this stupid thing. So, they're Wikipedia pages, and for some reason they reset in my browser. I don't understand why they do this. I set them up and then they reset. It is so frustrating. It only takes a second. So we're in, 94?
Yeah.
1 and 2, 93, 94. So NES still kicking in January 1994. I got a pair of releases. We got Bonk's Adventure and Rescue Rangers 2.
All right, yeah, that's what I had as well. Like, that's pretty big, man.
That's
for the
good.
NES? That's good.
For the NES in 1994.
Bonk's Adventure's
that's a
great.
Solid port. And Rescue Rangers 2 is pretty good. So,
it is.
Yeah.
All right, they win.
Me complaining.
No.
Not too shabby. All right, let's go to North America. Super Nintendo Entertainment System, January 1994. What do we got? What do we got on the 16-bit Super Nintendo? Now you're playing with power, superpower. Here we are, January 1994. We're looking at Shoplifter 3, Lester the Unlikely, Lethal Enforcers, Riddick Bowe Boxing, Sky Blazer, Super Solitaire, Zool Ninja of the Nth Dimension, Brett Hull Hockey, Super Battle Tank 2. Oh, I'm not even going to say it out loud. It's the last one. Mega Man X.
It's good. It's very good.
I mean, that's a pretty that's not a great month until you got to Mega Man X, which is a fucking megaton right there.
It is.
That's a big, hairy deal.
I would also raise you. I think I played it last year, maybe the year before. Sky Blazer is fucking awesome.
Is it?
That game is great. That's a Sony Image soft game.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, it's really fucking good. It's really, really good.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Okay, so that's 2 solid releases right there.
Yeah,
for the Super Nintendo. Let's see how did the competition stack up. January 1994, Sega Genesis, getting through the 93s, and there we are. Okay, Sega Genesis, Dune, Battle for Arrakis. I didn't know there was a Dune game on Genesis. The Incredible Crash Dummies, The Lost Vikings, Nobunaga's Ambition, Pebble Beach Golf Links, The Prince of Persia, Risk, Pugsy, Last Action Hero. Oof. I mean, Prince of Persia is a good game no matter how you slice it. It's a little long in the tooth by January 1994, but still.
Yeah.
I don't see anything Sky Blazer or Mega Man X worthy on this list.
No, for sure not.
No,
for
not
sure
so
not.
much. Not a great month for the Genesis. How did the Sega CD hold up? Let's see. January 94. I don't know. Was there any Sega CD this month? Do you have any Sega CD?
I had one. I don't know what it's. AX101. I don't know what the hell that is. I didn't bother to look it up.
I have Microcosm and Powermonger. That's all I have for Sega CD this month.
Yeah, I mean that's not Mega Man X.
Nope.
That's
Mega Man X
that's not even. That's not even Bonk's Adventure adjacent.
No, it is not. I'll write that down.
Yeah, AX101 is a... the Wikipedia says it was released in 1994 in Japan on March 25th. In North America, it just says 1994. So it's an on-rail shooter. It looks fine. It looks like a Sega CD game, so it's fine.
Well, let's see. What am I looking at here? I'm looking at 3DO in January of 1994. I got a lot of just 1994s here, but in specifically January, I see Mad Dog McCree. I see Night Trap, Stellar 7, Draxon's Revenge, Total Eclipse, and that's it.
Just nothing worth playing.
No, not so much. Fatty Bear's Fun Pack.
Shut up. Stop it. Stop it. What's wrong with you?
Lots, apparently. Let's see. Neo Geo AES. This is another one that's kind of hard to really nail down because I think a lot of these dates are Japanese. But I see... I don't see anything until February, actually. I have nothing for Neo Geo. What's this one? We got Game Boy games, right? TurboGrafx 16 is already toast, so there's nothing to look at here. How about original Game Boy? That's a big platform. That's gotta have some winners for us. That's gotta have something. Something. Gimme, Jimmy Woods.
Show me potato salad.
January 1995. Oh, I skipped a whole damn year, didn't I?
Yeah, no, we're on 94.
January 94. Here we go. Okay. We've got, Black Bass, Lure Fishing, Riddick Bow Boxing, Super Chase HQ, Winter Olympic Games, Lilyhammer 1994, Alfred Chicken. Nope. No, that's in February. Yep. Wow.
Nothing.
Fat lot of nothing. Heck off with you, Game Boy. Game Gear, save us. X-Men.
Nope.
Not on Game Gear. Nope. Nope.
I mean, Super Nintendo, very good. Regular Nintendo, very good. Everything else, drizzling shits.
Well said. Yeah, not crazy about that month. That's not a winner. All right, 1984. Let's go back to the 40. 1984. What do we got in arcades? Nothing January. I'm not seeing it in January.
Yeah,
some
no,
good
the only
stuff
thing
later in the year, but
that popped up for 1984 on GameFAQs was Root Beer Tapper. Didn't say January, just said 1984.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was definitely that year sometime, but I think.
Yeah. Such a damn good game.
That's a good one. All right, let's look at the Atari 2600, the VCS. In January, I have Boing, Dice Puzzle, Exocet, Scuba Diver, Seahawk, and Stuntman.
I don't know any of those.
I also don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm somewhat familiar with Seahawk, but everything else, I'm completely unfamiliar with those games. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what the competition was up to. 1984, the Intellivision had River Raid and Turbo released in January. Those are both solid, though I can't imagine them being that great on Intellivision. Yeah. River Raid could work on 2600. I'm sure it would work great on Intellivision. And that seems to be it on Intellivision until June.
Oof.
Strange platform. How about the old Coleco? The Connecticut Leather Company has nothing in January.
Yeah.
It goes right to February. Okay, how about Atari 5200? Same thing. Nothing until February. Vectrex.
The Atari 800?
Oh, that's you got the computer stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you want to just look through some of that. You got any winners on?
What I saw was Aztec, Death World, and Joust.
Okay.
Yeah, Joust is fine. I've never been good at it, so I hate it. But I know a lot of people like it.
Vectrex, I do see Winter.
It's not. That could be January.
They were reported on. Well, they were
Although
reported on
today.
In January.
It was fucking spring. So what do I know?
That's true. 3D Crazy Coaster, 3D Narrow Escape, Animaction, and Melody Master for the Vectrex.
Word.
That's neat. Word. And then I guess Game & Watch games. We got. I feel like I found something. They're listed all weird here. There's some February ones. Let me just look up the word January. Let's see what we got.
January, a month in the year. Also, the first name of a relatively average actress.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of Miss Jones.
I was going to say, not my Emma Frost. Not my Emma Frost. I couldn't think of White Queen's real name. I was like, I want to say White Queen. I want to say her name. What is it? Emma Frost. I don't have anything listed in January for Game & Watch. Do you have anything else notable that needs to be pointed out?
I mean, the one massive thing that happened in January of 1984 is not necessarily video game related, but the Macintosh came out.
Oh, yeah.
The Mac was released in January of 1984.
That it was.
So, that's just kind of a massive thing that happened.
That's a big part of electronics, consumer electronics history right there.
Yeah. Just, gigantic, stupid huge, the launch of the Mac, but video game adjacent best.
Well,
yeah, that's about it. That's not. That's January.
We really weren't expecting anything huge. Mega Man X. Mega Man X has got to be one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, Mega Man X is a fucking masterpiece.
Boy, does that series fall off a fucking cliff.
Yeah, I have not enjoyed any of its sequels. Not a damn one of them.
I know we're in the minority, Chris. You and I both are just. That is a series that's oh my god, this is so fucking good.
The first one,
you played Mega Man X,
damn near perfect,
brilliant, and then
damn near perfect.
The rest of them, you're like, yeah, well, all right,
that was okay.
You made these. These are games that exist. I'm gonna still buy them because fuck it.
X3 was neat. X4 was neat. I didn't care for too much at all. I didn't really play anything past that. Just yeah, kind of a bummer. Right. Yeah. Well, we weren't expecting a lot more than that. So
no.
we knew what we were getting into. We knew what we were signing up for. But with that done, with that pronounced, said, flatlined, tired, that's our show. That was 499. Join us next time for our 500th episode of the Stone Age Gamer
Extravaganza.
Podcast. It will be an extravaganza. Dan and I will be joined by returning co-hosts Dean the Vestlord DeFalco and Mike Castlevania Sheridan, as well as our intrepid editor Evan. There will be 5 of us. We're going to be giving our top 5 games for 5 different platforms. What's more, we're also going to be giving away 5 $100 Stone Age Gamer gift cards. It's going to be a celebration to remember. That's what we came up with. 5 of us are going to do different platforms. This is a bunch of 5 things. It's going to be fun. Mike's been pulling his hair out trying to figure out what his top 5 NES games are. Each one of us is going to handle a different platform. So, Mike's doing NES. You're doing PlayStation 1?
Yep.
I'm doing Super Nintendo. Dean is doing Game Boy. And Evan is doing arcade games. So, there you go.
That's huge. That's such a massive undertaking.
Yeah,
so
I don't
hard.
know what he's thinking, but he's a weird guy. Evan's nuts. We love him. I can't wait to have him on the show. It's going to be fun.
And we did talk about this. We didn't officially set anything in stone, but fuck it. I figure we'll put it out now. And if not, if you hate this idea, Eden, whoever that is, Evan.
He can edit it out.
He can edit it out. He can even it out, even. Fucking Jesus Christ, I'm tired. Listeners, you beautiful, sexy fucks. each and every single one of you. Kris just ran down the list of systems that we are going to do. If you would like to be included in the 500th episode spectacular, claim your system in the Discord chat and make your list. First come, first serve. Except for Atari, because like Ferg's gonna do that. Like, don't be a dick and be like, I'm gonna do the Atari. Like, don't take that from Ferg.
I don't even know if he's available, but come up with your lists. We'll read them on the show.
You can,
or record.
Ferg can type. He's got time in the next week to type out 5 games.
He can do it, or he can record himself. Send us an audio submission like people do to Ferg's show. We'll figure it out.
That's right. Evan will love to edit in other people's audio.
Absolutely.
That is the thing that he will be super excited to do.
He's going to be thrilled in every way.
But claim your system. First come, first serve. If you want to do the fucking Neo Geo or Game Boy Advance, whatever you want to do.
Well, I think the problem with this is that most people are going to be hearing this episode the day that we'll be recording the 500th episode.
Well, no, this is this is one of the reasons you got to be a patron.
If you're, right. Patrons,
is one of the
get
perks.
Early access. Yeah.
You get this shit early, make your list, be a part of the show, be a part of the fabric of the Geekade universe.
The Geekade cinematic universe.
That's right.
The GCU.
The GCU. I guess we're the podcast. The GPU. That's right.
That's us. Geekade processing unit.
This will be a good time. I think it's a great idea. I love this idea. I'm happy to be a part of it. I like talking to Mike and getting to say Castlevania. I like when Dean comes on and says vaguely racist shit. It's super fun.
I'm excited about it. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for us. We're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes. You'll see links to our social media accounts as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes, as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep this show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks. I would like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That is it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.